Welcome to Journey with the Jays NFL Sunday edition on Real 1100 AM radio. Spenser, Jake, John, and JB here to talk some of the games we are very excited to watch this Sunday. We're going to give you our picks. We're going to give you 4 picks each. The spread for each game. You guys decide if you want to listen to us or not. We're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons, and they are playing the Minnesota Vikings. Shoot, does anyone know who's home in that game?
They are playing in Minnesota.
It's in Minnesota. So JB, why don't we start with you? We're all going to pick this game, and then we have our pick of the week. Who do you like in this game and why?
So I like Atlanta. New coach coming in this week. A lot of stuff going on. Do keep in mind we've heard about the COVID test, so we're not even sure if this game is going to happen. We're taping Thursday night, guys. So if you're listening now and the game didn't happen, we apologize. But I think the Falcons are poised to get a win here. You know, it's going to be a totally different culture. You're going to see the offense step up and do what they've done all year. And the defense is going to be a little bit more motivated because everyone's getting down on them. They kind of cost Quinn his job. So we'll see what happens. Jake?
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. Sorry to all our Falcons fans. I'm taking the Vikings. Vikings at home, that's first of all, they're the home team. I don't always favor the home team, but I do like a home team. That's an advantage in and of itself. Even without fans, they're still in their own stadium. It's a mental thing. And even without Dalvin Cook, I think Alexander Madison's going to have a nice game. He picked up very well last week without Cook. I think Justin Jefferson, a talented young man. I'm not going to sit here and say Kirk Cousins is some amazing quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. And not to say that Matt Ryan isn't, but I just don't like the way the Falcons have been playing. I like the way that the Vikings have been playing as of at least last week. The run game is going to, I think, run rampant again. And so I'm taking the Vikings this week. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Vikings currently favored by 4 in this one. I think that's a little bit generous to the Falcons. Even, I guess it's because without Dalvin Cook, no offense to the Falcon fans out there, but the Vikings are at home, and with Justin Jefferson, there's nobody really to cover him on the Falcons. And Adam Thielen, let's just give him credit. He's just been fantastic for them. Kirk Cousins, like you said, is a good quarterback. Alexander Madison can run in his own right. So I think that the Vikings really do lay it on the Falcons offensively and really run away with this one. I see this one as a double-digit win by the Vikings.
So the Vikings have a 3-week streak where they've covered the spread. They started the year 0-2. They've covered the last 3 games. 2 really close losses to Tennessee and Seattle. They beat Houston 2 weeks ago. I think that was Bill O'Brien's last game. I like the way the Vikings are playing. I mean, they played Seattle very tough last week. If Mike Zimmer decides to kick that field goal, outcome of that game might be different. And without looking, I'm sure the Falcons are abysmal against the spread. I'm pretty sure they've been favored of 3 in 3 of their first 4 or 5 games, and I know they've lost every one. So I'm going Vikings -4. I think they cover. I think Kirk Cousins has a day against that Falcons defense, and I just think it's another rough week for Atlanta fans if, of course, the game is played.
Yeah, the only thing that I'll disagree with the 3 of you on, and since I'm the lone one here, Minnesota had to travel to the Pacific Northwest. They lost a tough game. They've had a horrible year so far. You know, they're kind of the little bit better of the Falcons story, where the Falcons are starting new, so it's almost like a new season for them. So that's where I think the Falcons step up and take care of business. I think they actually win the game outright, to be honest with you.
The only concern is that defense, really. I constantly say Falcons' offense isn't really a problem. I'm not sure I believe in that defense, especially against a good running team, even with Cook out. Like I said, Madison's still a talented young guy. And Kirk Cousins has got some good receivers. You know, John, you mentioned Adam Thielen. I mentioned Jefferson. He's good. Jefferson. So for me, as much as I want the Falcons to win in my heart, in my head, I know I have the Vikings at that one. Just because of that poor defense, I don't trust it.
Do we know if Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley are healthy for that game?
I'm not sure.
Julio, as of Thursday, Julio has yet to practice. Now, I know the COVID stuff kind of messed up their practice, but even with their virtual practice that they were having, I guess they were doing a virtual thing, he wasn't there for that. So as of Thursday, he has not been present at all this week. So he has about one more chance if the game's played on Sunday to show up somewhere in practice, and he hasn't yet as of Thursday.
If Julio plays, I give the Falcons a fighting chance, but if they don't have him, I think it's going to be a blowout.
I'm looking as we speak, and I do see Julio on the injury report from Thursday, but I do not see oh god, I'm
Calvin Ridley.
now. Calvin Ridley, thank you. I do not see Calvin Ridley on this injury report, so I believe that means he should be good to go unless something else happens before Sunday.
All right, so just to recap this game, Spenser, John, Jake, we're all picking Minnesota -4. JB, you got the Falcons +4.
Remember, we're in Atlanta. I don't have to forget about the +4. You guys keep giving me straight up. The Falcons are winning their first game this year. They're not that bad of a team. They just need heart. And they have the heart now. They got Raheem Morris coaching. They're good.
All right.
Let me just say Raheem Morris was not a great coach in Tampa Bay. He was a really bad head coach in his career in the NFL. So I don't believe in Raheem Morris.
He's not Dan Quinn, so we're going to move on. Just like the Falcons did last week.
How's
Spenser,
that?
what game do you have this week?
So my lock of the week, this is the one that I love. It's the Rams minus, I believe it's -3 against the 49ers. I think the game is in San Francisco without looking, because that's just that spread is way too small for it to be in Los Angeles. And yeah, it's in San Francisco. It's the Sunday night football game. Look, Garoppolo got benched last week against Miami, and he's somehow starting this game. The Rams had 2 stumbles against the Buffalo Bills, in which they pretty much came back and won that game, but Josh Allen had the last laugh. And then they beat the Giants, even though they didn't cover that game. They've covered the other 3 games they've played. They're just – Sean McVay's figured it out. And Jared Goff is back to that elite level he was in 2018. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp are weapons on the outside. They have a 3-headed monster in Henderson, Malcolm Brown, and Cam Akers at the running back position. Oh, and they have the best player in football, Aaron Donald, on the defensive side of the ball. So I think it's not even going to be a contest. I can see Garoppolo getting benched again, and we get to see CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins for the second or third time this season. That's my lock of the week. Rams -3 against the 49ers. JB, give me yours.
So, I mean, I think that's going to be the game of the week right now. That's probably, besides Pittsburgh, Cleveland, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, is the game I can't wait to see. I think the Rams this year are going to do some work. I think McVay's figured it out. He's gotten back to the running game. Last year, I don't know what was happening with Todd Gurley, but they were hiding something with his injury, and he seems to be doing better now. But I think that was the whole difference. He got the play calling back to more run. They got Cooper Kupp, who's doing really well. Their offense is hitting, on another cylinder now. Their defense is stepping up. I love the Rams all the way, especially with the turmoil San Francisco's having on offense. For a team that's doing okay, they have that Super Bowl hangover when they went to the Super Bowl last year. I don't see them doing much the way they showed up so far this year. Jake?
I'm right there with you. Rams have been playing well. Something's going on with that 49ers team. Not sure what's going on in that locker room, but Rams all the way. I mean, they look like they did a few years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. Simple as that. I love that team and don't see a reason why they shouldn't win this game. John?
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that concerns me if I'm the Rams is having to slow down Raheem Mostert. Mostert looked really good in his first action back after a couple weeks injured. I mean, granted, the Dolphins don't have a great run defense, but that's something the Rams really have to watch out for is Mostert. Mostert looks really good, and he only had about 12 carries and about 91 yards. So he had a fantastic week back, like I said, granted against a bad run defense, but the Rams got to look out for him, and that's really the only thing that they have to worry about in this game offensively.
These are the last 2 representatives for the NFC in the Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's also a matchup between 2 of the most handsome quarterbacks in the league. I mean, it doesn't get more handsome than Garoppolo and Goff. So that's another.
You mean while Garoppolo is starting before he gets benched in this game, most likely?
Yes, correct. That is correct. All right, JB, who is your pick of the week or game of the week for you?
So Steelers, Browns. The Browns are doing what I never thought was possible. They are 4-1. The only loss of the year coming to the Ravens. Baker Mayfield's playing great football. The Browns are doing some amazing things. But like they lost to the Ravens, they're about to play the Steelers. The Steelers are a buzzsaw right now. Steelers 4-0, leading the division. Got Ben, who's playing like Ben. He's healthy right now. New receiver rookie Claypool, who stepped in. How many touchdowns did he have last week? Was it 3 or 4?
4.
4. I stopped counting. Every time I looked at the screen, it was touchdown Claypool. He came out, did some great work. The Steelers are going to handle the Browns by, say, about a touchdown this week, so don't worry about the 3.5. It's going to be a fun game to watch. You're going to see some offense on both sides, but the Steeler D is too good for the Browns offense. Baker's going to get handled well this game. I think it's going to be a great game to watch, though. What do you guys think, Jake?
100% agree. Look, Baker Mayfield may be playing well, but he has not played the Steelers defense, and he is going to be in for a very rude awakening. I don't care how well he's playing. He's a young quarterback against a very talented and strong Steelers defense. Big Ben knows how to handle that Browns defense, and more importantly, just knows how to handle the spotlight like this more so than Mayfield. And I'm 100% in agreement. Steelers are my pick in this game if I had to pick someone. Absolutely. John, what do you think?
Actually, I'm going to go the Steelers miss it by half a point. I feel like they kick a game-winning field goal. They do win the game, but I feel like they win by 3 and don't quite cover the 3.5-point spread. Keep in mind the Steelers had trouble against the Broncos. The Broncos almost beat them with a backup quarterback in Pittsburgh. The Eagles, who are struggling mightily, almost beat them. They should have beat them. With about 3 minutes to go, they had the ball on the 40-yard line of the Steelers, and they couldn't quite get enough yards to get a field goal. They kicked about a 57-yard field goal, missed it just barely. But if they get a little bit closer, they make that field goal, and they're up with a few minutes to go, and the Steelers have to drive instead of running out the clock, essentially.
I hate this game. This is a game, it's pretty much even because the Steelers are home. The home team gets 3 points or gives 3 points. So it's really, the spread's really 0.5 on a neutral site. The Steelers are favored by half a point. Both these teams are playing very good football. The problem is the Browns don't have Nick Chubb, and Odell Beckham Jr. went home, I think, earlier today for an illness.
Yep.
I'm sorry, so I'm not sure. Today's Thursday. I'm not sure if he will be ready to go on Sunday. And they can't afford to lose him. If you lose Odell and Chubb in the same game, your chances are very slim. Having said that, I like the Browns to cover in this game. I think Odell suits up. I think Myles Garrett has a huge, I don't want to call it a revenge game because last year he hit the guy in the head with his own helmet, but I think he's a monster. I think he makes Ben's day just a nightmare, and I like the Browns to cover the spread. Do I think they win the game? I think it's going to be a toss-up, but 3.5. Pittsburgh just beat up on Philly. I think it's a much closer game this week.
And an interesting note, actually, on that Odell Beckham thing, the NFL actually came out with something where even if you have an illness that's not COVID-related, you have to be sent home. So that is something where Odell Beckham could miss the game. If the illness continues, he can't play because now that they instituted this rule, or if you're sick, you can't play. He has to get better. I would imagine by Saturday because that is – I believe that would probably be like a 24-hour thing when it comes to an illness. And they're not taking any chances now with all these illnesses.
So, Spencer, real quick, since me and you are kind of the betters of this group, the 3.5, is that something that scares you, the hook with the half point on there?
For the Steelers, I'd be scared, yeah. If I'm betting that way.
When you're betting in general, though, what are the key numbers you look for?
Well, so like I said, so on neutral site, that's why the home team, they're giving 3. So for me, it's almost a pick 'em. I'm looking for that number. If that number is anything below 4, it's pretty much a pick 'em. And that half point, like John said, John made a great point. He thinks the Steelers are going to win by a field goal. That means it's a pick 'em if they're going to win by a field goal and they're home. They have that home field advantage. That I don't know what home field advantage means in 2020, but it's not. It's on a per game basis, I guess. But for me, that half point is tough. That's why I would bet the underdog in that game.
Yeah, usually when I'm betting, I try and stay under a field goal or under a touchdown, 6.5 or 2.5 rather than 3.5 and a 7.5. But the Browns just haven't shown me enough yet. Maybe if they had played better against the Ravens. But let's move on to what you have, Jake, this week.
Well, if you're watching the video version at home, you see what I'm wearing. But for anybody listening, I'm wearing my Aaron Rodgers jersey because I am taking the Packers this week. And I got one simple reason. Stephen A. Smith says it best every time. He's a bad man. Aaron Rodgers with 13 touchdowns and 0, and I repeat, 0 interceptions to start this season. The only other guy that is looking to be on his level right now, in all honesty, Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers is playing on another level. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it was the fact that the Packers drafted Jordan Love. Maybe that was the plan all along. Piss Rodgers off, make him want to come out and prove to everybody, excuse me, I'm not old, I'm not done, I can still ball. Maybe that's what they were trying to do, and if that's what they were trying to do, it is working. Rodgers has just been unbelievable, and to tell you the truth, I don't care who he's playing. I pick Rodgers, but against Brady, look, Brady's a good quarterback. He always will be one of the greatest ever. He is falling off a cliff. I'm not saying he's off the cliff, but he's falling. He is not playing on that level he used to play. He's having trouble learning this new offense for sure. I don't like Brady right now. His style of play has not impressed me at the moment with his new team. And again, with the way Rodgers is playing on this almost God tier level, so to speak, it's hard to bet against him. It's a 1-point favorite, I believe, in favor of the Packers. So it's really not much of no one's really truly favored. I believe it's in Tampa as well. I could be wrong.
Yes.
So that really basically means that the Packers are really the favorite. I mean, they're more heavily favored than it says, but it's closer than it says. They're not as heavily favored. But the point being this: 1-point favorite. I don't care. It should be a lot higher if you ask me with the way Rodgers is playing. No doubt. What do you think? Spencer, I see you shaking your head. What are you thinking?
Oh, man, you're catching – look, any week I think I'd agree with you, but you're catching the greatest quarterback of all time coming off a loss in which he thought that it was 3rd down when it was really 4th down. He just got his butt beat by Nick Foles, didn't shake his hand. He's angry. I think the Bucs at home, Mike Evans will play. He got in a limited – practice today. Godwin is questionable. I know he's been practicing too, but they might save him for week 7. Regardless, you're getting an angry Tom Brady coming off a bad loss. I got the Buccaneers winning this game. JB?
One more thing, Spencer. You just reminded me, talking about injuries. This is Thursday when this airs. So this airs on Sunday. We're recording on Thursday, so this news could change. But as of now, it is expected Davante Adams will play. Another thing to watch for, Rodgers is getting his favorite target back. Yet another reason that bad man is going to have himself a week. JB, what do you think?
It's like the Tom Brady farewell mystery tour. This guy has been average this year. I mean, I hate to say we're going to say it's Belichick because in New England they're doing great things right now. In Tampa, with all the weapons that Brady has and the defense that's been playing well, there's not much to say. I like Green Bay. I think Green Bay is a better team. Aaron Rodgers is on fire. Brady is lost. He doesn't know what down it is. I just don't see how Tampa could win this game. John?
Yeah, I actually have 2 X factors on the offense for the Packers in this one. Obviously, Aaron Jones is going to be the X factor for the Packers. I don't think that the Bucs can stop him. They cover pretty well. Their corners are up and coming. But run defense-wise, I just don't think that they can stop Aaron Jones. And then do they have the linebackers? I know they have Levante David, but can they stop Robert Tonyan? I feel like this guy is on the cusp of really breaking out. He had that 3-touchdown game against the Falcons, granted. But I feel like this guy's about to break out and become a star at the tight end position. And Aaron Rodgers loves a good player at that tight end position. He hasn't had one in a long time since, I guess, like Jermichael Finley, really, a guy like that. So I feel like that's another X factor that nobody's really paying attention to, and he could really turn this game on its head because Davante Adams coming back. You have to pay attention to Jones and Adams, and Tonyan really could go off again, just like the Falcons game.
Everybody that's rooting for the Packers with me, so JB and John especially, you guys making some really great points. Look, Sorry, Spencer. You odd man out. It happens. We got to have one of them.
I've learned when you bet against Tom Brady, most of the times you lose, but that's just me.
That's why it's most of the time, not all the time. There are times you do lose, and this might be one of those times you don't lose, that you actually win when you bet against him. Now on to John for your pick of the week.
Yeah, so my pick of the week is going to be the Baltimore Ravens covering their 7.5-point spread. Now, this one's a tricky one, again, because they added that half point on the end of that. So now the Ravens have to basically win by 2 scores. Essentially, they have to. And that's tough to do against any team. But I like the Ravens actually being up by about 7 late in the game and then getting another pick 6 by a Patrick Queen or a Marlon Humphrey. It's kind of like a Carson Wentz thing to do. I see that, and it ices the game with about 4 minutes to go, and the Ravens end up winning by 14. So the Ravens are my pick for the week to win this game. But it'll be a good game. But I think the Ravens ultimately cover because they're just a better team.
Ravens are 3-2 against the spread this year. You said it's 7.5. So when they have double-digit spreads, that obviously 7.5 is not double-digit, but they're 1-1. When they have below double-digit spreads, they're 2-1. I like the Ravens to cover. I think that the Eagles are very close to falling apart. I think Carson Wentz, he kind of like had that game last week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago. Who did they beat? They beat the Niners.
49ers.
That was his big game. But last week they kind of fell back to earth against the Steelers. I think they're very close to just unraveling as a team. I like the Ravens to kick the snot out of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they cover.
Well,
Yeah.
Spencer, go ahead, JB.
Yeah, I'm not really too high on the Eagles. They haven't done much. If you saw my Twitter today, today's Thursday. Today in history was the first time the Eagles ever played a game. They lost to our Giants, 56-0. Now, I don't see Baltimore putting up 56 points. They're going to cover the 7.5 points easy. Carson Wentz, I don't know. He's regressed this year. He's thrown more interceptions this year than he's on pace on a ridiculous record.
He leads the league in interceptions.
Yeah, and the Ravens have a shot to go to the Super Bowl. To me, this is going to be a very exciting game. What do you think, Jake?
Spencer, I liked how you said it. They're going to beat the snot out of them. I like that. 100% agree. We're all in agreement on this one, it seems, and it's an easy pick. John, I love the pick. I couldn't have agreed more. Look, you have a legitimate contender that is the only team that really seems to stand in their way in terms of the AFC. Probably maybe the Steelers, maybe the Chiefs, and that's really it for me that really stands in their way as a legitimate stopping person that can stop them. So obviously I have to pick them. Eagles are going to get absolutely clobbered. I don't see how they're going to even stand a chance against this Ravens team. Ravens are just so dynamic, especially on offense with Lamar Jackson. He's got Hollywood Brown starting to play real well with him. Always Mark Andrews is a factor. There's a lot of reason on that offense, and that defense is definitely not as great as it was last year necessarily, but it's still a very formidable defense. They'll do their job. I don't see the Eagles standing a chance in this one.
The only thing that to me gives the Eagles a chance in this one is if they can get Travis Fulgham the ball again, just like they did against Pittsburgh. That's the only way I see the Eagles having a shot in this one. Another 10-catch, 150-yard game, which is possible because I think he's a really good receiver up and coming. That's the only chance I think that they have in this one.
Yeah, well, looks like we'll see. He's always a factor, but personally, I'm against it. So we all have 2 more picks. So I will start off. Just give out our last 2 picks for the week to round it out. I got the Chiefs, who are favored by 4 against the Bills. I'm taking the Chiefs absolutely. Patrick Mahomes is going to be pissed off, nice and simple. He wants to win this week. And then I'm going to take the underdog this week, Cowboys versus Cardinals. Look, Kyler Murray is playing well. I'm not going to take anything away from him. However, I think Andy Dalton is going to come out. He's going to play well. I'm not going to say he's going to be amazing, but he will play well. Zeke will run all over that Cardinals defense most likely. And I think maybe, just maybe, they can pull off an upset. We'll have to see. JB?
Yeah, so I'm going to just really quickly, Atlanta +4. I think they went outright. Pittsburgh -3.5. Baltimore minus 7.5, which we just spoke about. But the game we didn't speak about, Tennessee minus 3.5. I think that, they take care of business this week against Houston, who's suffering. What do you got this week, Spencer?
Just to recap, I had Minnesota -4, Rams -3. I like the Chicago Bears +1 against the Carolina Panthers. I think that the Bears have found something with Nick Foles. I think that that defense is starting to come into form, and I just like what the Bears did against the Buccaneers last week. I also have I'm gonna disagree with whoever picked the Cowboys. That was you, Jake. Yeah, the Cardinals are going to cover the spread easily. The Cowboys don't have a defense. They're going to get carved up like Swiss cheese. Kyler Murray's going to throw for 3 touchdowns. Kenyon Drake's going to run for another 2. I got the Cardinals putting up like 40 points against the Cowboys in this one and covering the 1.5.
Yeah, so for my picks this week, obviously you saw I had the Vikings -4. I have them covering that. I have the Ravens covering the 7.5. I have the Colts actually covering 7.5. I think that the Bengals kind of came back down to earth against the Ravens, and the Colts will expose them with that great defense at home. I think that they'll shut down Joe Burrow again. So Colts will cover that 7.5, but that'll be tricky. And then the Giants one, this one's probably the easiest one to pick of the week because they give you 2.5 points. That's less than a field goal. So basically, if the Giants win, and the Giants are just a better team, Kyle Allen's not a very good quarterback. Alex Smith isn't his old self. So Giants, this one's an easy one, the 2.5 point spread, and I think the Giants are motivated. They should have beat the Cowboys, and they want that first win, and they're going to crush Washington in this one.
I did not have the stones to pick that game. I wanted to so badly. I'm a Giants fan. They should win because they've had a quarterback who's played every game this season, as opposed to Kyle Allen and Alex Smith, who really haven't seen the field that much. But I don't have that confidence that you have right now.
They want to get Joe Judge that first win, so I think that they're going to be motivated, just like the Panthers a couple weeks ago were motivated to get Matt Rule his first win.
I hope you're right, John. I really do.
So this has been Journey with the Jays NFL Sunday edition. Check us out on Thursdays, Real 1100 from 6 to 7 p.m. You could also follow us on Facebook, Facebook Live, and YouTube on from 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays.
Yep.
Definitely give us a follow. Again, this is Real 1100. Have a great night, guys.